Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PIPCAST 3000, episode 125. It's a bi-weekly podcast where we talk about gaming news and usually have a Bethesda-centric topic as our main thing. I am Caedo Genesis, joined by my co-host BADCompanySarge.
Hello there.
And a special returning guest after 6 months-ish, William Strife.
Hello, my name is William Strife, and I've been here before.
Yes. What is it you do? Who is your daddy, and what do you do?
Sorry,
I just ruined that quote completely.
Getting a little bit deep there. No, my name is William Strife. I've been on YouTube since 2007. I've made a lot of Fallout guides over the years, and these days I play less Bethesda games than ever.
Less Bethesda games? Oh my goodness.
I mean,
does that mean niches make us tired sometimes?
Caedo, I haven't been here since Starfield came out.
Yeah.
It was,
Since before Starfield came out, we were talking about the Summer Games Fest stuff.
Oh my God, was that how long ago it was? My word.
Yeah, but can you summarize your Starfield feelings in like 20 seconds, just in case anybody's curious?
Okay, the best way for me to describe it is to repeat something that I saw on the Steam user reviews. It's like being in a fishbowl and jumping from one fishbowl to another. Just cool. That's all you do. That's all, and just like there's you can get so deep on it, but at the end of the day, the loading screens just really kill the concept of like it's wide and open. It's like, no, it's loading screens. That's all it is, man. It's loading screens.
Yeah.
So
to be fair, some of the fish bowls are really cool.
Oh,
but also
when
you deviate from said fish bowls.
Yes, exactly. It's just like that's just it. It's like, how do you know to find said fish bowl? Like it's a random roll of the dice for a lot of the exact same fish bowls, etc. So.
Yeah.
And the less I say about that, the better, because I've done enough rants on my own streams, which are available if anybody wants to go and see them, because I finally, since the last time that I was on, I actually went through the trouble of setting up an entirely separate YouTube channel, because
that's right.
I was convinced to finally start archiving all of my Twitch streams. All of my streams now go up on a dedicated YouTube channel at the same time as I'm streaming on Twitch, and nobody really chats over on the YouTube side because they're all on Twitch. But you know, I have a dedicated archive now, so
nice.
There you go.
Yeah, well, definitely glad to have you back for our wonderful topic, especially today, because we're going to be going over another TheGamer list. This time I found a pretty spicy one. 10 things the gamer wants in Fallout New Vegas 2.
So are we going to tackle this up top, or are we going to go for news first?
Well, it's by order of the outline. I'm just getting people primed for what we're going to talk about, because the gamer articles, yes, are the thing that we really take the piss on. And just in case anybody cares to know, I personally, New Vegas 2 is not going to happen. That's how I feel about it. New Vegas 2 is not going to happen. But I do like making fun of people that think New Vegas 2 is going to happen.
Oh my God, this is. I have a small story about this, a tiny little anecdote.
Before we do that, though, hold that thought.
Okay.
Thank you to Wasteland Legends, Sven and Rose. I do that at the beginning, Will, just because I forget at the end.
Cool.
So, now you can share your anecdote.
Okay, so first, what was that?
What was what?
Wasteland Legends, Sven and Rose?
Yeah, the Patreon. Patreon supporters.
Okay.
Those are my $50 tier supporters who definitely should get more than me just saying their name out loud.
Totally. I entirely understand that. I've had people do that for me on my Patreon, and I'm just like, I don't know how the hell to compensate you properly.
And for how long too? Like, it's been like Sven has supported me from like the beginning.
Oh yeah, it's like I don't want to total up how much you've given me. I would feel 10 times more guilty than I already do.
Patreon tells you, and it's upsetting to look at sometimes.
Imposter syndrome much?
Why are you dumping money into me? Stop.
So this is my anecdote. I am not a big Reddit user. I am mostly just I'm going to skim off the top whenever I'm trying to fall asleep at night, you know? That's most of what I use Reddit for. And I don't typically go too far deep in on anything, and I almost never comment, but every once in a while I do, and Fallout is one of the few topics that I will actually like go in and be like, hey, you know, I've actually done a bunch of research about this stuff, and here's something to know type situation. And
man,
I did tell someone at some point in, I don't even remember where it was, if it was a Fallout dedicated area or not, but it was the question of like, what would it take for like a Fallout New Vegas 2 or whatever qualified as a Fallout New Vegas 2 to be amazing or good or whatever. And I went in and I said, guys, Fallout New Vegas was lightning in a bottle. It will never happen again, and here's why. And I essentially said it was a game that it was originally supposed to be Fallout 3 and then got canceled because the studio folded and the people held on to all the notes, and then they went and they made a version of it. That's why it's so good. It had 10 years to be
They
perfected.
turned Van Buren into fan fiction and then built a game around that too.
Yes, exactly. That's basically what happened. And you're just not going to get it again, to say nothing of the fact that the composition of Obsidian isn't the same anymore, like staffing wise. So, but oh my God, like I sent that freaking statement out into the ether, and then I don't know, a month or so later, I had reason to try to look through my history on Reddit to try and find something that I had hit the like button on. And I noticed my comment history. I had this enormous negative number next to one of the comments, and it was that one. I was like, there are people
you tell people on Reddit that New Vegas 2 is just not a possibility, or like that New Vegas will never happen again. Like people will argue.
Oh, they'll crucify you for it
forever.
They do not want to be told that something that is
also Reddit.
Yeah, too. I mean, most of social media in general, they've all got the version of it.
Oh yeah. So anyway, Reddit is fun. That's the moral of that story. Also, I wanted to bring up our last conversation in the last episode 124, where we talked about another TheGamer article that went over a more recent thing, which was 10 things wanted in the Fallout TV show. And Sarge and I kind of ranking them on whether we thought they needed to be in the show or not, kind of thing. And we got a comment of the cast out of many that were just tearing into a mill. Not really necessary. But this one was not. And Sarge, would you please read the comment of the cast before we get too far into this?
So Ewan Nightingale here says, guys, would you consider inviting Lone Wanderer on? He's trying to make the YouTube gig full-time. I loved your episode with STRIFE, and I think some more cross-pollination could bloom meadow of YouTube analytics for both of you. Much love from your local BGS fan.
To answer that question, that I grabbed that one because they enjoyed having you on too, Will, which that means they've been a long-time listener because it was so many episodes ago.
Yeah, it's also very cool that they commented this on literally the last episode and you're on this one. That's very convenient timing.
The previous episode.
Yes, I mean, what are the chances?
Yeah, so thank you, Nightingale. That was very timely because I invited Will on before I even saw this comment, I think. but I do think it would be cool to get, I'm guessing Lone Vault Wanderer, not Lone Wanderer.
That is something I wanted to check, because I could very easily see someone called Lone Wanderer also being a person on YouTube.
Yeah, maybe if you feel like clarifying if that is incorrect of me to assume, please do. But I'm going to go with Lone Vault Wanderer. We collabed on something many years ago, around the time of the Morrowind expansion for ESO, which was a long time ago. During something he made called Collab Mode, which was getting a bunch of Bethesda YouTubers together to play games. During that time, I was still working security on the weekends, so everybody else was playing on the weekend, and I had like our own kind of side thing that we were doing, but I wasn't able to play ESO with everybody else that was. Even so, that was a very ambitious project, trying to organize around a whole bunch of other YouTuber content creator people. So ultimately, it didn't last very long. But it was a cool, ambitious idea, but that was the last time I really interacted with Lone Vault Wanderer. I could shoot him a message, see if he wants to be on. I know he does talk about like things in the Fallout sphere, especially like a lot of 76 stuff lately.
My God, I didn't expect this to come so completely full circle because I remember this story.
You do?
I don't remember if you told me on the podcast or if it was just a discussion that we had, but you mentioned that like in the course of like telling me about how you were in that type of a situation of like, oh, I have a job and I'm also doing YouTube, and now like I'm just doing YouTube and everything. I think it wasn't long after we met for the first time, whenever you invited me on the podcast the first time. Because that was when I told you, I was like, no, I've had a job this entire time. I've never quit my job. So.
Oh yeah. That might be like whenever the topic of collabs comes up for me too. Like there's a couple, this one included, that I draw from pretty aggressively. The other one is like the open-minded rap videos that I did for Date with a Deathclaw and Wazer Rifle, and those like taking so much out of me, and now like not even being part of, you know, my financial gains. Like I don't have rights to either of the monetization on those videos. So
the complications.
Yeah, fun complications when it comes to music collabs especially. So thank you, Ewan Nightingale, IEUANNA Nightingale. I'm sorry, the names are still weird for me. But yeah, let's hit on some news topics, because lots of a surprising amount of things happen. I only had a couple of things.
This first one will be an interesting topic.
Yeah, it will. You've never heard that one. No.
You're allowed to like leave in a rage if you want now. That's perfectly acceptable.
What I need to do is just like get an air horn and blast it at the microphone whenever you do something like that.
It'll make it easy to edit because then I'll see the waveform. So it'll just be like a brick.
You just get to like you'll just like edit in a fart sound or something instead.
Yeah, I could. I usually keep the Steve Ayo as my censor sound usually.
God.
From Borderlands.
Yes,
it's a good one.
Oh my word. I haven't thought of that in so long.
It's so good.
It is.
Steve is great. Anyway, the state of play for PlayStation happened earlier this month, and they showed lots of things.
Oh, did they ever?
Yes. Dave the Diver coming to PlayStation, as far as I can tell. The big one, Death Stranding 2 on the beach, which we'll come back to in a second. Dragon's Dogma 2, Foam Stars, which is PlayStation's take on the Ink Squiddy Splatoon. Thank you. Man. Helldivers 2, Judas, which is the BioShocky spiritual successor by the same
Ken Levine and Ghost Story Games. I have been like checking in on Ghost Story Games for like years, because like what was it, BioShock Infinite came out and he was like, okay, I'm shutting down the studio and I'm starting a new studio, and just went freaking silent. I was just like, what happened? What happened to him? What happened to his people?
Is he okay?
Like, did he lose his contract? Did the funding dry up? What happened? So just for that to suddenly show up in, like, I think it was this last summer, the summer before, you know, the summer of games or whatever, to see something pop up all of a sudden. It was like, I don't know, a 10, 15 second trailer or whatever. And it was like, oh, they do still live. So,
yeah. But a couple of the other things quite a few other things actually were shown. Legendary Tales Metro Awakening are some PSVR things. Rise of the Ronin might be a PSVR thing. I have to put in my birthday to look at it. Silent Hill, the short message, and Silent Hill 2, I believe that's the remake. Sonic X Shadow Generations, Stellar Blade, Until Dawn, V Rising. Hey, that's cool.
Wait, V Rising on the PlayStation?
Yep.
I missed that somehow.
Zenless Zone Zero. Yeah, I did not watch the entire state of play myself, but obviously you guys can probably guess what took all of my focus, and I just watched that and then called it good.
Really? So, wait. What took all of your focus?
Oh, I'm glad you asked.
It was Foam Stars, right?
Absolutely. I love just, shooting people with foam and changing the arena to the color of the foam that I use, and then maybe tasting the foam because it looks delicious. You can tell I clearly play.
It's not whipped
Foam stars.
cream.
It's
not edible.
But, well, it doesn't say that on the box, so it's like eating those biodegradable peanuts. You're just like it doesn't say it's not edible.
This just might really be bad for your digestion. That's all.
Yeah, but drawing out the bit way too long, Death Stranding 2 on the beach is what took most of my attention, because Kojima Studios showed off 9 minutes of Death Stranding 2 footage, which was incredible. And it had all the Kojima wackiness I love. I was watching it and started yelling, "Let's get weird!" I wasn't disappointed.
I mean,
the weirdness of the trailer.
This just brings up the fact that I need to play the first Death Stranding.
Yes, you do.
And I have a fun story about this, okay? They put the game out, I don't remember how long ago. And then, I don't know, maybe a year or so later, they put out
2018, I think, is when it first came out.
And then they put out the director's cut, right?
Yep.
And I don't know what the deal was, but I got a direct message from their marketing department saying, "Hey, we're giving out keys for the director's cut of this. Do you want one?" And I was like,
"Oh,
yeah, sure."
Wow.
Like, it would. I mean, if you have a professional inbox, you know what it's like to just get tons and tons of spam. And then there are some messages where it comes through and just the title is like, okay, wait, something about this is not auto-generated and I don't know what it is. And it was one of those emails. It was just like, oh, someone actually sat down and wrote this to me. This is weird. So they gave me a key and I was like, cool, thanks. I grabbed it, downloaded the game, never played it. I rebuilt my computer, re-downloaded the game, still haven't played it. Haven't launched it once. And like what made me realize that, oh my God, I cannot believe that I have done this. Like I've been directly given a key and then not done anything with this game was, I think it was a Steam sale where it was like, hey, Death Stranding 2 director's cut, you can get it for $10. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. I forgot I had that. So
yep.
I feel guilty about doing that, but I don't know what to say.
It's on your own time too. Like, I don't think any of us have a shortage of games to play. It's more just having to, pick one.
I mean, there are always like crazy headlines that show up around rumors that bound about, but I saw this crazy rumor the other day about like, oh, some people are thinking about trying to sell the games starting at $100 base price now, which who the hell knows if that'll ever happen. But the first reaction that a bunch of people had was, guess who's going to go through their Steam library and not buy anything? So I was like, I'd probably do the same thing.
Yeah, backtracking a little bit. Going through the backlog. Anyway, if you like Kojima weirdness, to anybody who's listening and is a fan of his stuff like me, Higgs is back. He has a 80s hair metal aesthetic, the Crow face paint, has a guitar that shoots lightning and is also an axe, and there's a cyborg ninja baby.
Of course there's a cyborg ninja. So
if any of that is your vibe, give Death Stranding 2 on the beach a look.
Oh my God.
And maybe the first game, so you have context of part of what's going on, because that was a good part too. Like if you've played the first one, like you actually kind of understand what's happening for part of it. Better for some people than when the first trailer for the first game came out, because people were just like, okay, we're in World War II and the tanks have organs on them. Interesting.
For as weird as Kojima gets, at least the writing is consistent. That was one thing that I loved about Metal Gear. I'll never forget whenever they released like the tactical database or something on the PS3 for Metal Gear after the fourth game came out. And it was literally just like a self-contained wiki for everything Metal Gear. And I downloaded this thing and I was clicking through it and I was reading all sorts of things because I had played all the games and I was like, that was the same character, like the young in that game and old in this. I had no idea. Like the consistency is something that I really, really enjoy. Can't really say that about other games. I'm not going to mention what they are.
We might later. That's one of the things that I was very, very excited for, and do recommend people try. If you like things that push weird and also are not like cookie cuttery, this Death Stranding is definitely not. So if you're feeling like you want a little change, that's definitely a change of pace for sure. Sarge, oh, go ahead.
Wasn't there news that like Kojima was gonna make a Metal Gear game with the serial numbers filed off effectively?
Yes.
Was that
either?
That's not Death Stranding, I'm assuming.
No.
Right? Okay.
No.
Yeah.
It has elements of that, obviously, Cyborg Ninja, and also Lightning Higgs. But I had the news story up, and then I stupidly like exited out of it. He has like 2 other projects that his studio is working on, which one of them is a horror one, which unfortunately I won't be able to play because I'm a little baby when it comes to horror games. And then another like tactical espionage action kind of project that he announced.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
So there will be something stealth actiony that he will talk about probably later too.
All right then.
Sarge, there's a game you played recently on your Games in 2024 thing that also had a little thing in the PlayStation State of Play.
Yeah, I assume you're talking about Dragon's Dogma.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
I played Dark Arisen recently. It's my most recent video. I had a lot of fun playing it. I had a lot of fun writing the script. I had quite a bit of fun editing. Nobody's watched the video. I do refer to the followers in Dragon's Dogma and make jokes about what their name is, which I am not using their name, which starts with a P and ends with an N, because I am slightly worried that YouTube's also decided, we're not going to show this to people. This is clearly a dodge vid.
You have a British accent and it sounds not like what it's spelled.
I mean, I also put in a sound effect after I say it as well.
You sure did.
But
Prawn Hub.
yeah.
Right? Where you buy your shellfish and have a great dinner at home.
Yes. Okay, I'm sure everyone's either caught up or doesn't know, in which case, let's not corrupt them.
Yep.
Dragon's Dogma 2 is part of this. And, man, when I was making the video and, like, playing the game and stuff, I was like, oh, man, I really want to get Dragon's Dogma 2 when it first comes out. Now that the video's done very poorly, I'm like, I suppose I can wait for a sale.
Oh, God. Dragon's Dogma is by far one of the biggest sleeper hits that I've ever seen. Dragon's Dogma makes me feel it could go one of two ways. Okay, like I whenever I played Dragon's Dogma, and I never finished it either, but it felt like I was playing a Dark Souls game.
Yep.
Like it's got that really thick vibe, and it's not necessarily even from its gameplay. It's mostly from its art style, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I remember I was an early adopter of Demon's Souls back on the PlayStation 3. And that was also a sleeper hit. Almost nobody knew what that game was. It was Dark Souls that was like the breakout success.
Wait, Souls likes that are niche? Wait a minute.
Well, it was back in the day.
It was, yeah.
But like that, I kind of feel like the first Dragon's Dogma now is kind of the Demon's Souls type game.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I literally thought when I was playing it, because I played a bunch of Dark Souls previously, I was like, oh boy, this is really similar. And it just, it's got the same feeling to it.
And, like, Dragon's Dogma 2 is either going to just go down the exact same road of being like niche and sleeper hit, assuming that it's good. I mean, I won't speak out of turn about whether or not something will be good before it's released, but it's either going to do the same thing as the first game and be a sleeper hit, or it could be a breakout success, you know? Yeah. And who knows? I never thought that the you know, Souls-like genre would become a genre. So
like more broadly appealing than it was.
Well, I mean the Souls games are just they're not impossible to beat, but they do revel in killing you very frequently. And they require you to do a lot of things very well. Like, you have to know your character, you have to know your abilities, you have to know the limits of what you can and cannot get done, and you have to be okay with falling over dead and facing a lot of loss potentially. And I never ever thought that would take off with anybody. I thought it was a really cool thing that was a one time and we would never see anything like it again, and wow, did that end up not being the case.
Yeah. And then I learned some things about myself, is that that's a genre I just don't like to play most of the time.
I mean, I'm more or less the same. The last time I engaged with it was Bloodborne, and even then it's because it's freaking gothic romantic setting, you know? Like, I was just like, oh, dude, we don't get that ever. I need it.
People look at that one, like, with the maximum respect. Like, that is the one that people really want in on the PS5 as well, re-release, or on PC.
The good news for everyone is that all you have to do is punch into Google Bloodborne 2 release date, and you will get tons and tons of misinformation that will get your hopes up. That's all you have to do.
No.
Bloodborne 2 is always releasing tomorrow. No matter what day it is, it comes out tomorrow.
And even if it turned out to be untrue, you know that they're putting Bloodborne on the PC in a week.
Yep. And you can get, and if you search right, you can get the double pack of New Vegas 2 and Bloodborne 2 together from Amazon, maybe. For an exorbitant amount of money.
Okay.
Anyway, that's probably our highlights from the State of Play. That's only our first topic, so.
Well, I mean,
our first news thing.
Didn't this next part also come out of State of Play?
It actually might have been one of the first things shown that I didn't want to mention just yet, because you and I both have a history of this game, Will.
Oh my God, do we ever? Do we want to skip that and do it later, or?
No, we can talk about it now, because I mean, I haven't played it though. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo is out on PS5.
I mean, I have made a conscious decision not to play the demo. I'm like, okay. No,
which is fair.
I'm already all in on this. I played the FF7 remake to completion on the PS4, and then I went and I just over the holiday I bought it again for the PC, and I'm updating myself and getting through Intergrade, which they never put on the PS4. So
Yuffie's stuff was surprisingly good.
Like, I'm looking forward to it. Like, whenever I launched it up the first time, I was like, okay, Integrate is all that I really want to play. I don't need to go through the base game anymore. And I clicked on it, and they were like, hey, so we don't give you tutorials at all.
BT dubs.
You need to know what you're doing. And I was like, fine, I'll go back and play the base
because
game
there's
again.
more stuff added to Yuffie's gameplay that is not standard to the vanilla game. So you'd be rehashing what you should have gotten from the original game, and then like the companion combo stuff on top of it. Yeah.
So like I'm looking forward to getting through the Integrate part, but the base game is pretty big, and I'm all like, despite the fact that I've gone through it already, I'm like, oh, but side quests, I can't just leave them.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to it. That is one of the very few games this year that I have full intention of like buying on release day. I had to last year I had to pass over Final Fantasy 16 because I didn't have the time for it. I've got to get a copy. I've got to play it at some point, but like I had to make a choice, man. It was either...
You missed me talking about finishing it last episode, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, I had to make a decision between FF16 or the remake of one of my all-time favorite childhood games, Super Mario RPG.
Well, obviously, Super Mario RPG.
And that's what I chose. It was
Obviously.
just like, I love the crap out of that game. So,
Yeah.
Decisions
And
were
like
made.
you know, that's one of the ones you kind of know you're gonna have a good time too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially with how they. The studio that did it was known for doing certain types of remakes in the first place. So, but like I was so excited for it that I went back and I made a video about Super Mario RPG and why seeing a remake was so unlikely. Like,
Yep.
that video has not done particularly well, but I'm still really proud of what I did because I had to do some really hard research to pull up some information about it.
And I watched that video and it was pretty great. I shall say.
If anybody's interested, that's just my last 2-3 videos that I put out on
We
my
made a
channel.
cool video about saying how Super Mario RPG should not have gotten a remake, but it somehow did.
And that's not this never should have gotten a remake. It's like, no, this is the most unbelievable thing that's happened, and here's why.
It should not have existed.
Yes. So
But it did somehow.
there's an entire cosmos of reasons, and here's some of them. So
Yeah. You want to talk about lightning in a bottle and then potentially losing that lightning forever. And then suddenly it happening again and you're like, "Oh no. Wow."
this is impossible. And they did a really good job
Yeah.
at remaking it too. So,
Oh yeah.
but that's all
For
I
sure.
have to say about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, okay. So FF7 FF7 Rebirth demo is out and playable on PS5. However, I will also mention, because they put this section out so early, and this is the like Nibelheim incident kind of tutorial thing, the thing that they're going to add is a like smaller scale version of Junon on the 21st that you can explore too.
Man,
And if you do play through the demo up until the end of that part, you can get a couple of bonus things when you get the full version of the game.
that'll be cool.
Just throwing that out there. I'm probably gonna do it when it gets closer to release. But I think the progress saves up to finishing the Junon not the Junon flashback, the Nibelheim flashback, and then like that can transfer over to the full version of the game too, I believe.
Cool.
Don't quote me on that part though, because I haven't personally confirmed that. But I think that's how it works.
I gotta hand it to you, Caedo. A lot of the stuff in the news here is not only is it taking up a lot of time, but two, a lot of this stuff I have really interacted with recently. So at least the first half of this list.
I tried to make sure that at least a couple of the things were more strife oriented.
And then I put in some weird niche stuff at the end, just to throw us all off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I threw in a Sarge thing too, obviously.
Yeah, I got the feeling that maybe Sarge didn't write that part. You'll know when you see it, listeners.
Oh,
Don't
yes.
worry.
I may title it the same in the outline that's shown at the beginning, but So Sarge, I know I posted this one, but it shouldn't be too hard to go through. The Starfield, another beta thing.
Yeah, they're doing another update, fixing some stuff.
Yep.
It's quite a short list this time, so I will do my voice and I will read it out.
Okay.
Under graphics, added support for AMD Fidelity FX TM Super Resolution 3. Added support for Intel Xe Super Sampling. Fixed an issue that can make the clouds appear to vibrate when using DLSS performance mode. Fixed minor visual artifact that could occur when aiming with a weapon or task swapping. Stability. Changed how form IDs are freed when loading saves. This should improve stability for saves that have visited many locations. Fixed a crash that could happen when making changes to the ship that required all items to be moved to the cargo bay in the shipbuilder menu. Miscellaneous. Reverted a change that caused the data menu to open when taking screenshots with F12. Fixed an issue causing the resolution scale to reset to 1.0 when switching from full screen to window mode when using DLSS. They fixed some stuff. I don't know what half the words I said mean.
No, AMD FSR. It's freaking super rambunctious.
Yeah.
3.
I got a comment recently with someone mentioning, like, oh, you need to do something DOS. And I've got no idea what they're on about. I never understand this stuff.
I mean, I think that's one of the most baffling things that I've ever gotten being a YouTuber. It's like, just because I play the games, there are some people who think that I'm some sort of a guru with like like all of the technology that runs the games, and it's like, no, like I hit button, it work. It's what happened.
I click twice, game open.
Yeah.
I press record. Now, if it comes to like recording software and also editing software and getting those to work, we're probably all over it.
Yeah. It's a bit of a different story at that point. It's like, oh well, it's not working because you're using the wrong codec, bro. Come on, do you not know?
You're not using a H.2.64. Come on.
It's oh no, it's you're getting that because like you got the wrong codec. You have to transcode it. Go download Handbrake. You know. Like, people don't know what the hell any of that means, but like, if you're a video editor, you get it. So,
yeah.
That's a really short list, though. Was it the last update where they made like some major introductions?
There was a ridiculously long list on one of the recent patches.
Yeah, which was also fixes.
Yeah, it's all just been fixes for ages.
Yeah, and which is unfortunate because still no maps.
Oh my god, like the minute that they said that they were going to add maps, I'm like, cool, the thing that should have been there from the beginning. And there's still nothing, and I'm like, why?
It feels crazy as well, because to Starfield's credit, I think it launched in a pretty stable state overall. Like
I can't.
What we'd expect.
Yeah. I can't deny that. It's absolutely. I lived through the Oblivion launch. I still suffer from the PTSD of jamming the autosave key before going through a door because of that.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, when Oblivion launched, going through a door to just get inside of a cave or a fort, it was a 50-50 chance that the game would just completely crash with no error log or anything. So
yeah, I've had that with Fallout 3. It sucks.
You learned, oh, I'm about to go in somewhere. Save the game. So
yeah. Starfield, on the other hand, for the majority of players, bugs were few and far between and not catastrophic. But all they've done since release is bug fix.
Yeah. I'm worried that part of that is just trying to maintain that idea that it was the most polished Bethesda launch, so they just want to keep maintaining that and are afraid to add things that will break the game. I don't know if maps would break the game entirely. I think those would be, just put them on an info board.
I mean, Bethesda, give me maps. I didn't load up Starfield to play Subnautica. No, that's a dig.
We're talking about specifically city maps that should have been in the game, by the way.
Yes.
If anybody's like out of the loop, like I rant about this almost every episode since Starfield came out. So,
I mean, and this is like debatably, city maps were less important in their previous games because of how small the cities were.
Yeah. I went on a whole thing about how Whiterun is a really well designed city for easily getting around.
Yeah,
Sarge
brought that up last episode.
Yeah, so like it easy to get around, small, compact, it gets the job done, but it also manages to feel like it's an actual place.
Yeah.
The cities in Starfield, like they're much bigger, and I get it, like they're supposed to feel bigger and everything, but that also means navigating them is way more difficult. You need the map way more. Why? I don't know. I don't know. Doing my best not to get super salt over here.
Yep. Understandable. So why don't we move on to another thing that is not exactly a Bethesda project, but a project from a fan that did the Daggerfall Unity project that we talked about last episode, which is a fully realized version of Daggerfall in Unity that somebody made.
I literally grabbed it the other day and decided to give it a shot. I died instantaneously to an enemy that my basic blade could not touch.
Yep.
Nice.
And this enemy could open doors as I was trying to run away from it. I was like,
Ooh,
oh,
roll the hit.
I'll just close the door. You won't be able to reach me. This is
Heck
an
yeah.
old game. Nope. Enemy opens the door.
Old school games do not care. They will end you. They rely on you saving and loading so much.
Oh
I don't
my
think
God.
I don't think people realize how much save scumming was just assumed by developers.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah. So anyway, that developer who made Daggerfall Unity is also working on his own original Daggerfall style RPG with a custom engine.
That was the biggest surprise of this story that I read. The fact that he was like, "Oh yeah, like I'm not building it from ground up. It's more like I'm reviving an old project that I had, or something." I think those were his words. Gotta hand it to him. That's one hell of a thing to do.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's like I'll call back to this later, but it's kind of a similar situation with the game that I'm currently obsessed with. So
Nice.
I'll talk about that by the end of the podcast. I'm
Gavin
certain.
Clayton is the name of this seemingly, I want to say it was a solo dev. I don't quote me on that.
Solo
Could
dev
be
for the
guessing.
new game or solo dev for the Daggerfall Unity?
It might be. I think he's solo for the new personal project.
That lines up with what I recall reading. I could just open the article. God knows.
Already started working on a new game, but it's going to be something of mine this time. I do generally love that old style of game. The thing I'm building is in the same vein. You're talking big world, complex systems, mod support. That's all the stuff I want to explore, and I want to take that experience of Daggerfall Unity and put it in the new game.
Doesn't sound like he said one way or the other.
Lifelong game dev here though. Like he loves what he's doing. So yeah, more power to him. I hope it gets some traction once it's got some vertical sliceage to show off.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of. Have you guys ever talked about Wayward Realms on the show?
Yes. Wait, that's bringing. What's Wayward Realms? I know we must have mentioned it. There's alarm bells going in my head, but they're not directing me to anything.
Wayward Realms is being made by basically the 2 or 3 guys who came up with the Elder Scrolls.
We might. I feel
We've
this
definitely
looks familiar.
spoken about it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you
also
search
forgotten about it.
If you search on Steam for it, I'm certain a screenshot would jog your memory.
Yeah, we've both got it wishlisted, Caedo. We've just forgotten.
Yeah.
We got bad memories. We're getting old.
It's got the teasers it has is like dark, beautiful night sky, then wall with tapestry,
Yeah.
then someone on a throne that is dark and obscured and mysterious. And there's not much to go on, but you know,
No, there's not. But like,
I'm excited for something like that.
I mean, the person who came up with all the ridiculous writing for the Elder Scrolls, like the 36 Lessons of Vivek and stuff like that. If you go to their website for Wayward Realms, they've got a freaking library of lore already, and it's like, no, it's substantial reading if you want to get into it. So,
Library of logos. Ooh.
yeah, there's a, I forget what it was, but I had something else to say and it's gone now. Oh well.
That's okay. You know what else? You know what's not gone? Is Sarge's love for Henry Cavill.
Wait. Is it Cavill? I thought it was. Yeah, it is Cavill. Oh my god. I kept thinking that it was Calville because I don't spend a lot of time trying to figure out names whenever I read them. I'm like, whatever. I've seen enough of the word. I think I've got enough of it. So
I read 2 letters. I see the rest of them. Let's just throw them together. It's probably
that's what
right.
I do most of the time. And people are like, "Are you dyslexic?" I'm like, "No, I'm just lazy at reading. That's all
Just
that it
how
is."
my brain puts it together, obviously.
But Henry Cavill is gonna be like heading up and working on Warhammer 40k TV/movie content. I don't actually know if they've confirmed either way. If it's like a show or a movie that they're working on, but yeah, this is just cool because, as many people will know, Henry Cavill is a big Warhammer fan, specifically 40k, although I believe he dabbles in fantasy and stuff as well quite a bit. And it's nice to see someone who is a big old nerd, like super into this stuff, getting to be one of the people like at the head of the whole project, which hopefully should mean as well that any Warhammer 40k like cinematic universe style stuff we get will actually be good.
And that's great. More good nerd stuff is good.
As long as it works out in the positive, because, man, the last time that he went full nerd on a franchise that people love, he got kicked off the project.
Yeah. Hopefully they keep him around in the 40k universe.
I don't even know too much about that last situation. I was like, I don't know. Was it a fight of egos or something? Or
that might be more of like it's an up in the air. They didn't share too much on purpose kind of thing, but that's still also a fresh wound in my mind. Like I still haven't watched the recent season that came out because Sarge told me about it, and he's just like,
oh yeah, like the final season with Henry Cavill sucked of The Witcher. It just it wasn't like it was. There was one entire episode which was Ciri walking in the desert, like just an hour of that.
Ugh.
And in one episode they flash back to the previous episode for half of the episode. It was only like 6 episodes long or something, but it was about 2 episodes worth of content. It was ridiculous.
Oh, jeez.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I've seen some pretty bad scenarios, and that's up there.
It would have been good if it was a movie. That season was just a movie, standard theatrical length. Amazing. As a series, they just stretched it out. I'm guessing just because they had Henry Cavill for an amount of time, and then things were going to change, so they just had to film stuff that way, would be my assumption. But
I don't know, man. Just do some stuff. We're stuck with him for a while. Get rid of him.
I got my fingers crossed that we'll get some good 40k stuff from this, and hopefully it'll be nice and like quite dark and no good guy kind of thing, which is what 40k does very well. It's very dystopian. Everyone's the bad person.
Look out, the executives are coming with their PG-13 demand.
There's been memes going around of like, do you know the Grim Reaper knocking on doors meme?
Oh god. Oh
yeah,
boy.
It's that one where it says normies, and it's like Marvel, Star Wars, they're coming for 40k next. And people mocking, being like, oh, they're going to have like Rogal Dawn turn to camera and go, yeah, that just happened.
oh,
But I do not believe that will happen in a 40k project. Like, I don't think Games Workshop would let that happen. That's you can go a little bit away from the super dark side of it all, but you can't be like Marvel's level of, let's have a cheap little quip here.
I remember
at all.
I remember the last time I saw like the bingo card of like terrible tropes that would show up in a film for that everybody's highly anticipating, and it was the Mario movie. And, like, I remember looking at this bingo card that was circulating constantly before its release for like the first trailer or something, the first proper full trailer. And they were like, oh, it's going to have all of these things because it's Illumination Entertainment, you know, the Despicable Me people. And, like, nothing was on it. None of it. Except for Blackjack was really good as being Bowser. Because he was. But...
Blackjack? Jack Black?
Jack Black. Yeah, there we go. I did not
I will say I didn't notice you said that wrong. My mind was just like, yep, those are both the correct words.
Yeah. Tenacious D fella. Hope he's able to see whatever project this is to completion, because it seems like he doesn't get to do that.
No,
at least me and Sarge want that for him.
Henry Cavill has had some really awful curveballs thrown his way lately, so far as I can tell, and I'm not involved in pretty much any of the media that he's, you know, like I don't even watch the media that he's worked in. You know, he just keeps showing up in the headlines, and it's like, kind of wish that the guy could get something to work, because he seems to be very invested in everything that he's working on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's had some big breaks, but it does seem that, I think more than anything, he's possibly someone who's just, when it gets to the point of, oh no, this isn't going the direction I want it to, this isn't something I'm interested in anymore, is willing to kind of take a bit of a stand and be like, oh, I'd like to change stuff, which doesn't work very well in the world of cinema. People want you to just kind of go along with it. So, yeah, I imagine Matt probably puts a bit of sand in the gears and has no doubt helped with him, like, stopping being Superman or The Witcher and several other things.
Well, if you've got the capacity to, like, stop working on a project that you don't really enjoy or like the way that it's going, that's something that not everybody has the ability to do, you know?
Yeah,
that's
true.
a luxury, and the fact that
is true.
He's still hanging around and he's still able to, like, get these opportunities.
Yep.
Yeah,
Congratulations on that, you know?
that is good.
So, what's this next one about?
Yeah, I'm
I
also
found
curious.
a weird thing.
Like,
It's not a weird thing.
Yeah.
I know nothing about there being games based on this IP. I had no idea.
So, the Discworld games. There's a short series of adventure games, Discworld, Discworld 2, and Discworld Noir. I've only actually seen the original Discworld game, which is a weird combination of guards, and Colour of Magic kind of mushed together sort of thing, it feels like. Because you got Rincewind with the luggage, but there's a dragon being summoned and stuff. It's all a bit strange, but it's a fun game. It's got the Pratchett Discworld humour in it. It's set in Ankh-Morpork. It's kind of fun. And the original game's director has said that a re-release of the original Discworld kind of game, not the original, because these ones were 1995 to 1999. However, there was a Discworld game in the 1980s for the ZX Spectrum. But the 1990s one is possibly able to happen because there's been a whole weird thing with the rights over the years where studios have gone away for ages, because I can't even remember what the studio was, and I can't see it in the article, but yeah, the old studio's gone. This guy's like, well, it seems I would have the rights, but then there is weird UK law called bona vacantia, very, very old law, clearly, which
You are
says
saying
that...
so many words.
Yeah.
That
Which
I don't know.
says that the intellectual property rights for the game, half of that might actually go over to the Crown, as in King Charles, the King of England. Yeah, this is wild. I had to include this.
Oh my.
It's nonsense. Yeah.
Oh, that is some extremely British stuff going on right there.
This is very much like some old law that's just never really been dealt with, because it's not really come up. Because there's normally like a train of, the rights would go here. But it seems to be that like when the rights are essentially abandoned, then half of it goes to the king. Which is... Yeah, it's proper like medieval law, which is just kind of around.
Yeah,
but...
like as an American, I'm like, wait, didn't we fight a war to stop this type of stuff? No, it must have been something else.
Still. Yeah, you lot don't have a king.
Yeah,
because this is all British. It's all happened over in Britain.
Yeah, that's right. He was Sir Terry Pratchett.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard him speak in my life. I'm certain Terry Pratchett did plenty of speaking, but I don't think I've ever...
I mean, he was... No, his daughter got involved with this as well, Brianna Pratchett, who's a video game writer. I believe she was a writer on Rise of the Tomb Raider. Was it Rise of the Tomb Raider? One of the Tomb Raider games, and she's worked on a bunch of other stuff. She's very active in the industry. And she also manages his estate now that he's passed, and kind of talks about I had no idea about this, and yeah, they're quite strict on what they let go out, so they're kind of in the do we own any of this? Is this something we give the go ahead to? And yeah, it's a whole thing.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Sorry, I tuned out because I only understood half of the words that you said at the beginning. Yeah. So for those of us who are not in the know, what is Discworld exactly?
It is a fantasy universe, a series of books written by Terry Pratchett about a flat circular world on the back of 4 elephants, which in turn are on the back of Greater Tuin, a space turtle that flies around the universe.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So
Now I have context.
it has a very unique form of cosmology.
Sounds like it.
And in most of the books, it doesn't matter, but it's all taking place on the back of a turtle.
Yes. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Terry Pratchett has there's very sharp writing and there's very good wit in everything that he, if not everything, then a lot of what he wrote. So
Yeah.
and I think generally the best known book or the best regarded book that he wrote was The Color of Magic. Something to that effect. Like, that's the one that I always hear about the most.
I mean, that's probably like the most iconic because it's the first in the series of the Discworld. But it's also a case of a lot of Discworld fans, when they talk about which book you should start with, they don't go for The Color of Magic because it's not his best writing, and it is very much focused on this brand new world. But I know personally, I recommend people read Guards because that introduces you to Ankh-Morpork, the main city where things are based around, and the whole Night Watch storyline is one of the more interesting ones which you can read without needing background. I'm going to stop talking because we need to keep this podcast to under 5 hours, and I could talk about Discworld for days.
That's not a problem. We're only at 1 hour. And we haven't even finished the news.
Yeah.
No, but
we are one away. We are one away.
Yeah. Like, Discworld is brilliant. I highly recommend it to literally everyone.
And this is one that Sarge found for me, it looks like.
Yes, this next thing.
And it may have been something that was shown before, talked about before, because their older video content on Project Arroyo, Fallout 4, which is a Fallout 2 remake in the Fallout 4 engine.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about this a while ago.
Yep. A lot of environmental showy offy things, as well as some like enemies attacking each other and stuff like that, or attacking the player. And some assets that are recognizable, like the Desert Eagle from Fallout 2.
I mean, now that I think about it, like one of the things that I would kind of miss not having was the, like the Mauser or the Chinese pistol. I like that gun design. I don't know what it is, but like not having that available always makes me sad.
Yeah,
so,
same.
It was a terrible pistol in Fallout 3.
Oh yeah,
but I really like the way it looks.
It's easily outclassed by the pistol you start the game with.
Yes. I was always like,
funny.
what's the point of this? It's so much worse. And then like, what was it? BioShock Infinite. Like it was that was your basic pistol, and then I was like,
oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, it's the gun that I like the look of it. It's just like,
It's also the gun that Eva uses in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh my god, it's been so long.
She fires it sideways on the back of a motorcycle. You're just like, that's so cool.
I don't think I've played Metal Gear Solid 3 since the first and only time I played it when it came out.
Oh man, yeah, super cool.
Like that's like I've been playing through the Metal Gear games with my girlfriend, like, and we do one every year, and this year it's Metal Gear Solid 3. So
nice, awesome. That's so awesome. So yeah, anyway, Project Arroyo, go back away from just the Chinese pistol focus. This is a cool mod project that somebody else is doing. I also notice, and this is me just being a bit of a cynic, these projects happen a lot and take a very long time to make, or don't fully get off the ground. Yeah. Which I'm okay with either way, but once I see more like actual things happening in the footage, like characters interacting with you in some way, because a lot of this is environmental stuff that they're showing off, which is base level like development stuff. Like you make the environment and then you build stuff into the environment to make it actually interesting. Not much of those interesting bits are there yet.
I mean, honestly, the thing that You're entirely correct about all of that, but also like it's stepped and it's like a gradient of like, okay, well, which of these things do you think is harder for like an independent mod project development to do? Like come up with custom animations and everything, or do you think it's finding people to do at least half decent voice acting?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or would would it be a situation of like, oh, well, we can like take the sound files out of the copy of Fallout 2 you already have, you know, and
well, yeah, that gets into licensing stuff, and also there's only so
Yeah.
many talking heads in Fallout.
I mean,
2.
they are asking for voice actors as well in this.
And-
Which I hadn't thought about the voice acting, but that's something
voice
I do
acting
dread.
probably wouldn't be difficult to figure out too.
The problem with voice acting is doing it well.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's doing it well. I think that the want for like level designers and stuff like that, and also artists specifically, is like need for that is way higher because, like even like all three of us, like we could volunteer our voices, but the result would be, I don't know. I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
So like,
How dare you, Caedo?
what are you an
dare
actor?
you. I am personally insulted by this.
Are you
I've got
part
so
I was
many
only speaking
voices.
for myself.
Sarge, are you part of the Royal Shakespeare Company?
Totally. I'm British enough that people will believe that. Yes. Oh, Romeo, wherefore out thy Romeo.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh my
Proof.
word.
Yeah. Anyway, I like seeing projects like this still. So thank you, Sarge, for showing me this.
I just remembered it. The thing that I had to say way earlier. I brought up Wayward Realms, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You did.
Another game that came onto my radar within recent memory. The Axis Unseen. Have you guys heard about this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We talked about it
We did.
because it's a former Bethesda dev that is doing a solo project in the
Yep.
Unreal Engine.
Yes.
It's Nate, isn't it? Yeah, that's the one.
Nate, yeah.
Still don't know when it's
Pile.
gonna come out. I wouldn't be surprised if it's this year at some point. But
Heavy metal horror game. Yep.
Hunter horror game. So yeah, I just like wanted to ask if you knew about it. That's all.
Yes. Yeah, we did talk about it. It was the documentary channel gaming thing.
No clip.
No clip.
No, thank you. You both said it. Thank you so
Yep.
much. I got it in stereo. That was amazing. Yeah. No Clip did a short thing on it, and it's like 25 minutes. Like it's good.
Yes. Yes.
Shout out to our previous episode, but more shout outs to that because No Clip does great, and that was a great coverage of the Axis Unseen, which is another niche project that is really cool.
Yes. Okay, that's all. Just
nice.
Suddenly having something
you
finally
for-
bubble to the surface after I don't know how long. So
I appreciate you bringing it up too, because it is something worth repeating too. Is seeing what the dude responsible primarily, I think, for the Fallout 76 map, what he's doing now.
he was
cool.
the lead environmental artist on a lot on games. Like my understanding is that in regards to Fallout 76, he was doing nothing but meetings. I think in the No Clip documentary, he was like, yeah, like I did design, but most of what I did was just like scheduling meetings and making certain that people were doing what they needed to do, type stuff. So that definitely means that he knows his way around how to design a world, because you don't get up to a position like that without doing that first. So
Yeah. Well, hopefully.
well, I mean, it
Hopefully
doesn't
that's
seem
the
to
case.
work. It doesn't seem to work that way with the writing team at Bethesda.
We don't have. We did that last episode. We don't have time. We don't have time.
I'm just here to constantly tempt it out. Okay, so are we gonna do this topic?
We're gonna do the topic.
Okay.
Don't spoil it for yourself by scrolling down, because we like to do the gamer articles in a knee-jerk reaction kind of thing. So in case anybody needs a reminder, we're going over a TheGamer article because we like making fun of these. And this one is particularly fun because it's 10 things we want to see in Fallout New Vegas 2, written for The Gamer by Lewis Parker, published March 2nd, 2022.
I like how we need to call out poor Lewis Parker, who has published this.
Poor Lewis Parker.
I have no clue who this guy is, and we're about to rake him over the coals probably for it. And it's just like,
well, I want to preface this by saying, like, this is all still in good fun. Like, we are going to probably bash the things that are talked about in this, but I don't want to treat Lewis Parker directly badly, really, in any way. Just more rough critique of what is going to be gone over here, because
well, you should try to protect his identity. Like, call him Puis Larker or something,
I mean, I'm on his Twitter if you want to link to that as well.
Yeah.
I'm just like looking. He does a lot of writing. He's written for Eurogamer, Rock Paper Shotgun, PC Gamer, IGN, the Gamer website. Like, he's done lots of stuff.
Sounds like a right freelancer.
The thing is too, when you publish a name for yourself somehow on the internet, it's probably going to be used against you or for you.
Okay, so how are we gonna do this? Is each of us reads one off sequentially?
Yeah, and then we discuss, kind of thing.
Okay, cool.
Saying how wrong it is. I can go through the beginning of it. It starts with conversations about Fallout New Vegas being brought to light. Here's our wish list for the highly anticipated game. Just under the assumption that it's gonna happen. The rumor mill is once again in full swing, and the hottest new leak this time around is something many gamers have been begging for since we first got our hands on its predecessor back in 2010, Fallout New Vegas 2. Don't get too excited, as this is all just whispers and unsubstantiated links for the time being, but it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I just want to say I love that this is from 2022, but holds just as much relevancy 2 years later.
Because it keeps coming back.
Fantastic. I love it so much.
Yep, that's why I've grabbed it too, because like it's just reminding people how far away this was, but it's gonna come back. Says back in 2018, Microsoft bought the developer Obsidian Entertainment, the team behind Fallout New Vegas, in 2021. They purchased ZeniMax Media, which in turn owns Bethesda, the Fallout franchise's current developers and copyright holders. Now that the Fallout IP holders and New Vegas developers are united under one roof, what could a Fallout New Vegas 2 look like more than 10 years after the original game's release?
So before we even get into this, I just want to bring up this point that just the tiniest bit of background is that Obsidian constantly tried to get Bethesda to let them play with their toys again. And they always said no. They always said no. So I find this article extra entertaining for this reason.
I mean, I wouldn't say tried. It was more like they were open to it. Like quotes of them just being like, yeah, we'd like to, or like the floated like Elder Scrolls game. I saw that one recently. Like Elder Scrolls game that they were like, you want to try an Elder Scrolls game, and Bethesda's like, nah.
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
which is
that's
fine.
just it. Constantly being like, hey, we could do that again, and it was less of a kind of making a statement in an interview type of situation, and more like just really letting Bethesda know. It's like, we're still open for that. And just Bethesda always being like, nope.
Yeah.
No.
And I feel like it's also worth mentioning that Obsidian devs, and probably some Bethesda talking heads too, have gone on record multiple times saying there's not really any bad blood between them, even related to New Vegas' score, which is something people constantly bring up, and I constantly have to remind them. So that is not an issue. 84 on Metacritic isn't an issue. Just
honestly, I think probably it never ended up working out, mostly because ZeniMax was way too focused on. You don't get purchased by Microsoft overnight. That is a years and years long type of thing where you're trying to build up your company to look profitable enough to be purchased by an outside entity. If I had to make a guess, I'd say that that's probably what they were doing, and they were probably trying to prove that their house was worth buying without having to hire out.
Yep.
That's
Which
what
makes
my
sense.
money would be on.
That part makes sense too, for sure.
Okay. Anyway, that said,
Sarge, would you please
Me?
take number 10?
I was going to let Will do the first one.
Oh,
Oh.
fine. Number 10, a new setting. For the time being, New Vegas 2 is just a working title. In truth, the only thing tying this unreleased Fallout game to New Vegas is the possibility it will be developed by Obsidian Entertainment. So that begs the question, where would Obsidian choose to set the new Fallout New Vegas game? Although a lot of fans want to see the franchise move somewhere outside the USA, such as Mexico or Canada, it's more likely that Obsidian would end up sticking to their West Coast roots. New California or Alaska are probably the most popular choices, but let's be real, the coolest choice would be Hawaii.
I love that we're on the first entry of a Fallout New Vegas 2 discussion, and already we're getting rid of New Vegas. Perfect.
Oh, of course. And also, Hawaii might be underwater because of the whole nuclear devastation thing.
Yeah, you know.
Just throw that out there. I just thought that was funny to add at the end. Be like, yeah, Fallout Hawaii. Like, what? I don't think there would be anything.
Frankly,
You'd be in a boat.
where would you even get this from? I don't get it. It's like, you know, there are plenty of good places out there. They've talked about Reno. That's been in a previous game. You could go back there. You could go to Boulder, Colorado. That's referenced in New Vegas.
Yeah. Or, you know, go further up the Pacific Northwest. Like, they can still do that.
You know what would be a nice place to go? Seattle.
Yeah.
You'd have to deal with toxic rain all the time. Perfect. It's an entirely new
Starbucks.
mechanic. God. Excuse me. Don't you know that it's called Silcom Joe's?
Go to their HQ in Seattle.
Oh my God. They just have an enormous, like, cartoon donut up on the wall or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a Fallout New Vegas 2, like, it could be a different spin-off entirely, not just New Vegas 2.
Yeah.
Like, if we're going along this fantasy of Obsidian making another spin-off Fallout game.
Oh, just...
I will go with, if it's not set in New Vegas, though, it can't be called New Vegas 2.
Correct.
I
agree.
Don't allow that. You can shift the map around a bit, maybe expand it, but yeah.
I like how every single time that this point comes up within any type of a fan discussion, someone has to walk along and say, listen, we're not asking for another game in Las Vegas. We're just asking for a game like New Vegas. And that's the only word that we have that works. And it's like, it always becomes a thing in the discussion that someone has to...
I have a real... I can't even call it a pet peeve. Pet peeve is too mild. I really don't like how a lot of gaming discussions go, especially in the world of RPGs, where people use certain like words and phrases but don't actually mean exactly what they think they mean or what they literally mean. And the New Vegas one is an example where we want it to be like New Vegas, well, that's just super broad and doesn't explain
That's
anything.
one of the things that fans also can't really agree on.
Yeah. I mean, there was that
Anyway.
entire separate thing that you linked to on the document that we won't go over. So,
it's just under possible topics. Like, it's for anybody who's listening. It's why do some people think that Bethesda doesn't understand Fallout? It's an old Reddit thread.
It's like
that I grabbed ages ago.
It's like 10 months old, and like I think the top comment really does drive home some really good ideas there. But we're not here for that. We're here for this other article.
Yes. I'll go next.
Sarge.
Number 9. More special choices. Fallout New Vegas allowed you, more so than any other Fallout game, to influence the world around you in extremely specific ways, provided you have the correct perks or special points to unlock these options. Low intelligence builds were particularly amusing for exactly this reason. This was something that was largely missing from Fallout 4, likely a casualty of the more simplified dialogue mechanics. Okay, that does make sense. Hopefully, whoever ends up making Fallout New Vegas 2 has heard gamers' angry cries for more stat-based interactions, because me only want play new game if game be big good.
Okay. I see what the writer was trying to do here.
They were attempting, yes.
Yeah.
They were trying to do a low intelligence dialogue thing. I don't think it works when you do it halfway through a sentence.
Yeah.
That'd be my criticism there.
Props to you, Lewis Parker, and also work on it a little bit. The delivery that wasn't quite right there, but this is one that I have to utterly agree with.
Yeah.
I know that's something that, as far as I know, like Obsidian just likes doing in their games. Like they really like doing that in their games. Like playing low intelligence in the Outer Worlds reminded me how ridiculously fun low intelligence is in games.
Oh yes.
And yeah, New Vegas has a lot of those as well. If you pull a low intelligence situation.
I mean, just the frequency at which you could be surprised that it's like, oh, because I am really good and in one area of expertise, all of a sudden I have extra dialogue options. That I loved that so much.
Yeah.
Where it was
the more. Sorry. I was gonna say that the more special choices as like the broad thing is something we've actually seen in 76.
Yeah.
You see, I haven't picked up 76 since its launch, so
it's quite a bit better.
Yeah. Now that there's people to talk to, you talk to them, and it'll be like, oh, you've got this certain amount of perception. You can notice a thing. Oh, you've got really low charisma. You're going to say something which makes you look just like a loser. It's fun. There's reputation checks as well. Like, obviously, a lot of people don't like 76, and it's fine, especially if it's not your style of game. But it is reassuring to see that they're headed in the right direction when it comes to like dialogue and stuff like that.
Yeah,
who on earth is doing the writing for that game at this point? It can't be.
I don't know.
Whoever it is, it's not a mill, and they're doing it extremely well.
Oh,
because some of this I've stated this multiple times. Like, I have never been more emotionally invested in Fallout stories than I have with 76. Like some of the acting and the dialogue in 76 is, frankly, belongs in a different game. Because it's so good. It's annoyingly good.
When did you go back to 76?
Oh, Sarge and I were covering it. Like, that's kind of how we started like doing things together initially. I think
really?
Since launch, and that, like, I dropped off of 76 around the time The Pit came out.
Yeah, I think I left around the same time.
In a player
just come
sense,
back to the game though.
Anyway, yeah. But content-wise, I stopped like as soon as I started seeing like too much things being monetized that shouldn't be.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, I might go back to it, at least just gameplay-wise, just because of the Atlantic City stuff, because that's more stuff to explore. And
that's right. They were okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I've just checked and I stopped covering it 3 years ago, which is quite a bit longer than I thought.
Yeah.
There's literally 2 videos since then which mention 76, and one of them has a 76% like to dislike ratio, which might be the worst on my channel.
Anyway, I think number 9, more special choices or dialogue stuff, like that's kind of a redundancy when it comes to what Obsidian does, because they this is something they do.
Yeah.
It's not a fan request, it's just something that they kind of do.
But then again,
the games that they make,
when you match it right up against what Fallout has done lately, 76 notwithstanding, my understanding, it feels like you have to lean on in that direction, even.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing to mention. Like, if it is Obsidian developing this game, it's expected, but people would also say stuff like, oh yeah, Obsidian will give like a pacifist route in their games, and we know that Avowed won't have a pacifist route. So
a fully
even
pacifist
the given
route,
stuff,
but it will have ways to avoid conflict.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Avowed was not going to have a pacifist route.
You should listen to the PIPCAST 3000. I had to check what number it was, because we talk about stuff like that and are totally in the know.
Yep, we know everything there is to know about what Obsidian's doing all the time. 100%.
Yep.
Not being facetious or lying. I never lie.
Never. Ever, 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 ever.
Speaking of never lying, number 8, Fallout 4's gunplay. Fallout 4 is not a perfect game. A shaky, bug-filled launch, a half-baked settlement mechanic, dozens of lore-breaking offenses, multiple functions from previous games either watered down or removed completely. The list is never-ending. My God.
Oh boy.
One thing Fallout 4 did get right was its FPS combat. Although Fallout New Vegas improved upon Fallout 3's gunplay in many ways, the difference between New Vegas and Fallout 4 is night and day. Hardcore Fallout fans will always prefer that the games are RPGs first and first-person shooter second, but a sequel to New Vegas has to at least maintain the same standard of quality Fallout 4 has already set.
God, this would be...
They did a great job tearing into Fallout 4's other things.
Yeah.
I like as well that they start with just being like, oh, it's not a perfect game, and then just punch it several times.
Is this dead horse more dead yet?
Look,
Yeah.
listen, little Timmy here. He's not that strong. Punch, slap, kick, beat. But he's wearing a real nice shirt. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, another, I don't know, kind of redundant thing. I mean, I'm guessing if they use the creation engine too at this point, it would even have mantling and sliding.
Yeah, I'd say that you don't want Fallout 4's gunplay. Fallout 4 is an old game now.
Mm-hmm.
You want better than Fallout 4's gunplay.
Yeah.
I describe the gunplay of Fallout 4 as solid.
Yes.
And I don't give it more praise than that because
you
I
don't-
play
yeah.
quite a lot of first-person shooters.
You definitely don't move from that because yes, you have way more experience. We both do with shooters that do that aspect.
I
far
might
better.
be in the... I'm probably on my own in this regard, but like I found the combat to be more satisfying in Fallout New Vegas than in Fallout 4. And it was because I felt like I had to be more tactical because it wasn't a shooter, you know?
I do think there's a good point with kind of the balance between that, because I know, like, melee isn't seen as good in Fallout 4 as it was in, like, Fallout, or all the previous Fallout games, I suppose, because Fallout 4 had much of the more standardized FPS vibe to it.
Except for
And
one aspect, and that's Blitz.
Yeah, Blitz is crazy.
It's broken.
Yeah.
It's so broken.
I would like there to be more of a evening out, I suppose, of the mechanics to make it so that you do need to be somewhat tactical, so that there aren't clear play styles which are so much better. I'm going to say this is something I think 76 does worse in some regards, because in 76 some of the gunplay like disparities are increased, because my main big gripe with a lot of games at the moment is bullet drop-off damage.
Yeah.
Which games are loving to do, and which they just put in unilaterally, and it makes sniper builds garbage.
Oh, yeah.
You get a long-range rifle, and it deals like 2 points of damage, and then you get up close with a pistol, and it deals 500 points of damage, and it'll all just be because distance. And yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder if it's maybe like a double whammy even for sniper build's case, which includes like enemy like damage pools or resistance due to level scaling as well.
Yeah, level scaling
and
is
like
another
none
thing
of
I've decided
and like
I
that
hate.
just being completely imbalanced.
Yeah, I think one of the big things we need in gaming in general is kind of a way to make the next set of these style of games that do play in like a shooter kind of aspect, give you a lot more flexibility. Because like you say, Will, it is more of just a shooter, so you don't have to worry about the tactics so much as like when you did in Free New Vegas. If you're good at a shooter, you're going to be good at Fallout 4, just flat out.
Yeah.
You don't need to be like making the right build. You can get by.
Like, and
So
do you remember the subtle change that New Vegas made to VATS that made it much more needing to be strategic? Those were words I said. They dramatically reduced the VATS invulnerability that the player has.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, like, here's the thing that...
So if you tried to VATS point blank to something, you could still die in the sequence in New Vegas. But in Fallout 4 and Fallout 3, it's way harder to do that, to like die if you're
like,
point blank VATSing something.
This gets into like a major thing in regards to gunplay that really bothers me, and it's the fact that VATS is an on or off type of system depending on which game that you play, you know, and it's for reasons expressly like that, where it's like, whoa, well, this is kind of like my, oh god, something's going wrong, I have to hit the button, you know. That's the way that I always ended up using VATS in Fallout 3 and in Fallout 4, but in New Vegas I never felt like I needed to use it.
I bet the iron sights probably helped.
Those helped immensely. But and this is another thing, I really liked how, you know, RPG First was like, no, it didn't really matter that you were like, you could aim your gun in Fallout 3 and you could still miss because you had a really terrible gun skill, you know.
Yeah.
I found that to be very interesting and compelling. I know tons of people who absolutely hated it, but I was like, no, it's an RPG, that kind of makes sense, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
I swing back and forth on it myself, honestly.
but
I think it does make sense, but I'm also one of those people who's like, why isn't my gun shooting where I point it?
It's like the long distance version of the rolling to hit thing that
oh god,
we've
yes.
talked about in the past about
Yep.
Morrowind.
Yes.
Except it's bullets now.
And what, like, but far and away the biggest thing that bothered me about like the way that they changed VATS for Fallout 4 was the fact that you could no longer reliably hit things by throwing grenades in VATS. Like that was an enormously fun thing that I did in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, and I was just like,
it's
I
just not
loved
something
throwing
you can't do now.
grenades in VATS. It was so
Yeah.
fun. It's
'Cause
like, oh, well,
grenades-
that missed. Hopefully it'll go off in time. Or, oh, it hit his feet. It's actually going to go off instantaneously. Like the
Yeah.
grenade was perfectly cooked. And
Like, it wasn't a primary weapon in 4. It was the offhand.
yeah, entirely a support
Throwable.
thing.
Yep.
And I
I
just,
think having the throwable slot is a very good thing, but also your point is 100% true that it does suck, that you can't just VATS throw grenades. Which,
Yeah. You can VATS
so much
shoot them
fun.
though once you throw them,
yeah, but that's
which
like,
is also fun.
oh my God, is like doing that correctly is such a, oh,
But
like,
if you pull it off,
VATS doesn't pause in Fallout 4. It slows down. And that was another thing. I was like, man, I felt like I had time to do stuff. Now I've
Yep.
dedicated a shot to his head and a shot to his right hand, and I'm going to shoot him in the leg next. And oh, wait, his right hand's behind him. I'm not going to hit it now. So,
I will
Yeah.
say, just as a quick aside on that one of the things I want most in like Fallout 5 or whatever the next Fallout game is a setting, like a difficulty setting, where you can either have VATS freeze time, slow down time, or have no effect on time. Basically, the Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout 76,
Yeah.
all of those
That'd be sick.
as an option. Because I think they've all got their strengths and weaknesses to them, and the choice of what you do with that would be the most fun.
and a fourth toggle, overhead tactical mode.
Oh god.
do not try to turn this into XCOM.
Yeah, that's exactly
not?
what he's doing.
The stats are there. Come on.
Yes, and I don't want to miss whenever I've got a gun barrel jammed up someone's nose.
Oh yeah, as well, Bethesda, percentages go up to 100. They don't stop at 95. Please, Bethesda, I'm begging.
All right.
Yep.
Number
Next one, Will, please.
Number 7, Wilder Wasteland. The Wild Wasteland perk is universally beloved by Fallout New Vegas fans, allowing lore-loving gamers the opportunity to have their cake and eat it by introducing bizarre, non-canonical events and characters into the Mojave, should the player choose to take the perk. The best part of the perk is how it enhances replayability, allowing players to experience the same events in 2 different ways on a second playthrough. Honestly, it's borderline perfect how it is, so we can only ask for more of the same, more events, more characters, and perhaps even completely alternative quests.
Actually, Wild Wasteland is a treat, not a perk.
Dang, Sarge beat me to it.
Yeah, I knew we were both waiting to jump in on that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, call yourself
actually-
a New Vegas fan. Puh.
We'll keep a tally of how many actuallys we do during this thing.
Oh no, Dropout's gonna
Sarge
sue
is
us.
winning.
Wild Wasteland, I remember whenever I did my playthrough of New Vegas, there were some people who were just really hung up on the fact that I didn't take it. Like, really, really hung up. And I think part of it was the fact that in New Vegas, Wild Wasteland was capable of unbalancing the game in some capacity because of some weapons and where they were available based on the trait alone.
Mainly one, but yes.
Was that
The
was
alien blaster.
Was it the? I thought it was the. I think it was the tri-beam laser rifle or something.
What?
There was an area, in the game where, if you took the Wild Wasteland perk, you would find aliens, and I don't remember if they carried. Yeah, they probably carried the alien blaster, and if you didn't,
there was
take
one
it,
alien blaster, and then, the other aliens had some other
alien weapons.
alien weapons on them. I don't remember.
What I remember is that if you didn't take the trait, then it would just be 3 mercenaries, and they had really powerful weapons as well. And I'm probably getting what weapons were what mixed up because it's been so long.
YCS 186 was the one the mercenaries carried.
Really just throwing it out fast there. Yes,
Sorry,
that's
I did
the
a guide
one.
on them.
Well, I did too, but it's been a long time, man.
I didn't do the guide on it. I was going to say it was the Y2S. I don't need to remember
good.
this stuff.
But it's one that comes up a lot in my guides, comments, and stuff. So
Most of what I remember about that location was that I used the spot with the mercenaries specifically to show off the I forget what the name of the gun was, but it was the one that was associated with Helios 1.
Yes.
Like
Euclid Sea Finder.
Yes, Euclid Sea Finder. Like, I remember specifically trying to figure out where to show off the gun getting used, and it was like, where are some guys that I could blow out of the water that are really predictable where they are? And that was it. It was like, cool.
Yeah.
Like I can capture the laser thing focusing in perfectly right here, and yeah. So
Yeah, because even the time it takes to drop a laser on someone, like they might move.
Oh, you mean they didn't just move? They got a moving truck and they found a new place to live in. That's what you mean by moved.
Yeah, pretty accurate.
Oh my god. But I mean, Wild Wasteland, yeah, sure, I guess. Why not throw some more things in there? Make it like if you really went in heavy on Wild Wasteland to change the game.
Yeah. Again, like part of it is like still part of their design philosophy where they do implement like paths that a lot of players do not travel for them to discover and be like, oh, that's cool. I can't believe they thought of this.
You know,
like, that
the,
is something
you know the reason why
Obsidian
you
does.
should never ever do that? You should never do that type of writing because people will just rip those pages out and they'll make paper airplanes with them and they'll throw them around.
Yes, thank you, Emil.
I can't.
I know
help
exactly where you're going with it
I
too.
know. I'm trying. I mean, come on. You'll break one of these days.
Yeah, I know. But like, this is obviously in the favor of what Obsidian does in their games anyway. So
Yeah.
and yeah, again, it's something that if Obsidian were doing this hypothetical New Vegas 2, like this is also something that they would likely do. If not make it a trait, make it something that just happens, like the classic Fallout games. Because I actually prefer it as something that just kind of happens rather than needing a trait for it too.
Yeah.
That's just my own preference, because it was a lot more enjoyable in Fallout 2 to get a random encounter and be like, oh, is this one of the ones that's like a story plot thing, or am I meeting a giant stone head of the original Vault Dweller and getting a chunk of rock from it that I can eat and get its stat bonus for a little bit?
The Wild Wasteland trait as well, the collectionist in me doesn't like it, because you can't get the YCS, I think I said that right, and the Alien Blaster like on the same character. Sort of thing.
You can.
And I want all of the uniques.
You can, but there's a specific order in which you have it and then you don't. But and you also have to go to Old World Blues and have it swapped out.
Yes, there's like weird janky workarounds.
There is, and I think I said it the backwards way you're supposed to do it, and people don't let me hear the end of it in my guide.
I like the games to be designed where you can have all the pretty unique stuff.
All the cool things,
because I like uniques. Unique Bethesda, as in one of a kind.
Yep.
Unique.
Yep.
Are you saying that randomly generated weapons is not the reason you pick up a Bethesda game?
No. I mean, it's worse than that. Have you seen the Starfield entry in their help menu for unique enemies?
No, I don't think I have.
I need to dig this up.
I'm not. Caedo's gonna find it. It's horrible. Like, it's bad, and I'm gonna get a drink. I'm gonna take a minute. I'm gonna get heated. I'm gonna top up my drink, then I'll come back calmer.
Oh no.
Yeah. Will, you did the last one, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah, you did.
Yep, that's me. Number 6. Better character customization. Regardless of what Fallout game we're talking about, building a character in the Wasteland has never been a painless process. To be fair, Fallout 4 did make a fair amount of improvements to its character creation system, like the ability to sculpt certain areas of your face, but it was far from a perfect system. More importantly though, the world of Fallout is home to dozens of twisted human offshoots, none of which we've been able to play since the release of 2004's Brotherhood of Steel, aka the greatest game ever made. Ghouls, simps, super mutants, hell, let us play as the long-forgotten Beast Lords. Better yet, let these have some kind of effect on gameplay too. Let us do a high-intelligence super mutant run, or even a shunned ghoul-turned-homicidal raider playthrough.
This just sounds like Kenshi.
Yeah! Oh my god, you were the one to bring up Kenshi.
This just sounds like Kenshi.
I'm converting him slowly.
Oh dear.
I mean, it's like, don't get me wrong, I think that this is a really cool concept. But at the same time, that would fundamentally change what the game is supposed to be, you know?
Yeah.
And let's be entirely honest. While I did we say this while we were recording, that it's like another Fallout New Vegas will never happen, you know?
Yeah, I already said that at the beginning.
Okay, yeah, like, I couldn't remember if we were saying that when we were recording or before that, but yeah, it's like, no, Fallout New Vegas, like, or you know, whatever would pass for a Fallout New Vegas sequel is never going to happen. I think it's lightning in a bottle. But if you were to imagine that was going to happen, this concept would not mesh with what they do.
You can't tell a personal story if you can be a ghoul and also super mutant and also a cyborg.
I mean, it's a little bit like
your starting thing.
It's a little bit like if you play as a Khajiit in Skyrim. Why all of a sudden are you the only a Khajiit who's allowed inside of any of the damn cities? You know, it's like there's
even worse, like Morrowind playing as one of the beast races. Like,
yeah, it's like this doesn't really make a lot of sense, but we're just gonna kind of look the other way because we want to give you the ability type situation.
You're the protagonist. You get an exception pass.
Yeah,
but only you.
That's no problem. You either have to do it as you've got the protagonist pass, or you have to have people treating you like what you are, in which case most places in a Fallout universe are likely going to kill super mutants on sight.
Yep.
In which case, a super mutant playthrough would be, cool, I can't go to any city or civilization ever. That would no doubt break quests.
Yeah, it's like, what is my purpose here? It's like that one meme. I do not know my name or what my purpose is. All I know is I must kill.
Yeah. A Beast Lord type of character like that would be cool, by the way. I don't know why they mashed Brotherhood of Steel and Fallout Tactics together again. People keep doing that, and I get it, but they're not the same game. But Fallout Tactics had the Beast Lords, which were essentially psychers who could like speak with animals. Like they were the like animal ally tribe kind of thing, that would legitimately fight you alongside Deathclaws, and it was freaking cool as a concept. But that's the only game that happened in. So,
I'm not sure if we'll ever want to do this as like a future possible topic kind of thing, but like psychers and psychic abilities and all that kind of stuff seem to like skirt around the edge of Fallout quite a lot. I do wonder if I'll ever do more with that in the direct
full on.
sense.
That's one of the things like I kind of doubt, but it is cool as a concept too.
Like, I could only see something like that showing up if there's a writing purpose to try and get something
for sure.
done.
I mean, that's the only reason most of it showed up in the first place. Like,
I
Harold
just
has it to some degree once he's a tree. The master is the prime example, as well as the like prisoners that he has that are being studied because of their latent abilities to resist his psychic influence, and they're all different levels of crazy.
I wonder if
but they give you a cool hat to resist it, and then
Oh
you see
my
it in New
God.
Vegas on that kid at the trading post.
Oh, the medicine. I didn't know that that's what it linked back to.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's so wild. It's so wild of a pull in Fallout New Vegas. I had to be reminded when I played through Fallout 1 that was where that was referenced from. It was so wild.
Wow.
Because that's just a room off to the side that you can ignore too. Like, it's crazy.
Talk about
yeah.
being really referential and knowing your lore.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine the original creators knowing stuff about the IP.
Yeah. Imagine writing something and then carrying it over to the next game.
It's and that
geez,
deep cut stuff will only come from the original writers.
Yeah.
Like you can bash Bethesda all day, but that is a deep cut. Anyway, hey, number 5. Is it my turn?
Yeah, it is.
Enhanced survival mode. Oh my god. Survival mode. First introduced in Fallout New Vegas' hardcore mode, is a very authentic way to enjoy a romp through the post-apocalypse. It would be the best way to play Fallout if the recent titles were not the hosts to dozens of bugs and crashes, that is. Has this person played New Vegas? There have been lots of mods that enhance survival mode, and it would be nice to see some of these find their way into New Vegas too. Being able to carry around a sleeping bag so you can save, making nights darker and not letting you pause the game through your Pip-Boy are all popular mods to make survival mode a more palatable experience. So it would be nice to see them properly integrated into the game.
They've mentioned Fallout 4 several times before. They're talking about an enhanced survival mode, and they don't bring it up.
Like, that's the one thing that came out of Fallout 4 where I'm like, no, you got that right. You
It's
totally
great.
got that right.
It's freaking great.
There's so much that I have that I'm hung up on with Fallout 4. Not the survival mode, though.
Yeah.
It's so good. You just need to... Yep.
This article has some real Emil levels of writing.
Oh, jeez, man. I was gonna make a Reddit post comment, so you know, like this one number 5 is a lack of awareness to like what Fallout 4 introduced and improved upon what was already there. Because yes, hardcore mode was okay. Survival mode in Fallout 4 was freaking amazing. I think we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah, just full out, like full stop.
Yep.
Full stop. It's like, no,
Yep.
Fallout 4 has one of the best survival modes that I've played in a game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it is horribly punishing, and I don't want it all the time, but it's great when I do want it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I would like to think it spread to other Bethesda IPs because it was so good, or Bethesda published IPs, because Prey got one as well.
I mean,
After its launch.
they put one into Skyrim too. I don't think they ever put it in. I think they only put it into the special edition. I don't think they ever put it in the original. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, survival mode was free with the anniversary update. It was that, fishing, Saints and Seducers, and
Camping?
Curios and
camping as
Relics.
well? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I really do need to go back and fire up Skyrim and try to play some of that stuff. Because like this,
Yeah.
I've never tried the survival mode in Skyrim. Mostly because
It's quite good.
it is. It's pretty good.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it as like Fallout 4 levels, but
No.
it does some nice things.
Yeah, trying to get to the Mages College. Oh man,
Oh boy.
you'll die.
My main advice is stay in the south of the map.
don't
quite
touch
some
the water
time.
with even your toe, because your leg will freeze off.
Oh wee.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's talk about hardcore mode. Like, that is so hardcore. Anyway, let's move on to number 4.
Number 4, vehicles. Vehicles are a bit of a rarity in the world of Fallout. Fully functioning ones are in scarce supply, but they do indeed exist, mostly in the form of vertibirds or trucks. Fallout 4 already let us hop in the passenger seat of a vertibird and tour Boston from up high, so why not go the extra mile and let us drive a vehicle of our own? Whilst learning to fly a whilst learning to fly a vertibird, or even just driving a big clunky atomic VA car would be cool, something a bit more compact like a motorcycle would work just as well. The NCR are well known for their horse-mounted units, so that's an option too. Besides, maybe if the courier had a car, Benny wouldn't have been able to track them down on foot, kidnap them and shoot them in the head. Just a thought.
So this time they're mentioning Fallout 4 as an example of a game with vehicles. Because, there's no Fallout game where you can drive a vehicle or anything. That would be a better example.
There's so many gripes about this one. And they still haven't mentioned Fallout Tactics by name. They implied with Beast Lords, but they still haven't mentioned Fallout Tactics.
Yeah, it is
which is
kind
the
of
vehicle's
weird...
Fallout.
Yeah, it's weird to know about Beast Lords, which I will fully admit that I did not know about.
Oh yeah,
but then when it comes to vehicles, not mentioning the games where you get to drive your own vehicles.
And to be fair too, like, those are obscure. They're a flavor of Raider in Fallout Tactics. Like,
yeah.
But you just learn more through the dialogue, and it becomes more awesome. But yeah, at least 4 different vehicles you can actually drive around in real time in Fallout Tactics. Like, that's the most control we've had over vehicles in Fallout. Would be pretty freaking cool. Also, I'm questioning where they got the information about horse-mounted units that the NCR ride.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before, personally.
Cool, we're all unfamiliar with that. That's good. I was assuming on that part that was just me being, like, less in the know. But, yeah, that's weird.
I mean, Caedo, you're the one who's gone through the older game. Sarge, have you played the older games? Like
fleetingly.
If I remember properly, horses were extinct because they were food.
That makes a lot of sense.
All the NCR
That's the lore that makes sense in my brain.
My God. I mean, the only creatures that I've ever seen are Brahmin.
Yeah. Also food.
But, and yet still surviving somehow, which is absolutely baffling. But I mean, I played Fallout 3 again for like the Fallout for Hope charity this last holiday, and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do this time around? I'm gonna crack into Fallout 3. Haven't played that for a long time. Every time I walked into Megaton, I was like, oh, I have to cow tip. I have to tip the cow.
Yeah, dude.
Every time.
Oh, it's so great.
I forgot how fun that was.
It's so good. Yeah, during my randomizer playthrough, that was an obligation. Super great. Yeah, so vehicles are always the thing that's wanted in the newer, first person ish Fallout games.
Yeah. They're also arguably a lot harder to implement in the newer first-person Fallout games.
Yes, they are.
Especially because there's the whole speed issue where you can't go too quickly or else you're going faster than everything can render for you.
Yep.
Which immediately puts like a huge cap on how fast a vehicle can go.
You know what the funnest reason for it is? You guys know the Skyrim cart introduction.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
the bee?
was the bee. The bee. Like, that was it was such a confounding thing that they couldn't figure out, and I'm like, okay, so this is making a lot of sense for why they never give you a vehicle other than a horse. And that horse is like debatably not even faster than running around. You know? So
rideable beasts that's probably still on the table. But like vehicles as a whole that are dramatically faster than you are on foot, probably not.
Yeah.
If that were ever to be a thing.
I swear most people playing the games don't realise how much of a headache it is for devs to put vehicles into like games that aren't literally just racing games. It always seems to be a nightmare. The one I always remember is Dragon Age Inquisition, where when you're on your vehicle and you press the go faster button, all it does is throws up speed lines because they can't make you go faster without breaking it.
I mean, it kind of makes you realize that Grand Theft Auto is amazing for that reason, in a way.
Yeah,
it's
the
built
games that
around
do
it.
manage it, it's genuinely very impressive.
Oh yes.
But
Yes.
another point about the vehicles, I've learned a very valuable lesson about whether or not vehicles are fun to use since playing Starfield.
Oh.
It's given me a very significant appreciation for having a world that is so dense that you're tripping over stuff because you're walking to all of it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? It's convenient, but the fast travel system works just fine, and being able to walk over the hill is really not that bad. Especially since things are so close together.
Yeah.
I think having a compact world beats having several areas with empty space just for the sake of vehicles.
Yes. And I like...
I'd say...
No Man's Sky is the only game that I've ever played where it's like, no, there's a lot of open nothing, and you have vehicles for both in the air and on the ground, and it works fine, but it really does have to engage in its nothingness to make it work. So the minute that you give me a vehicle in a Fallout game, or any type of a Bethesda game for that matter, except Starfield, and I'm like, I don't need this. I can walk to it so fast. So
Yeah.
And you can find stuff along the way because it is, in
that's
minus
half the
Starfield,
fun.
it is more densely packed.
Yeah, that's half the fun. That's like the big part. It's like, I'm gonna go to that location, and then 5 hours later you remember, wait, I was supposed to go somewhere. So
So vehicles would be good. There is a way that it could be used in an interesting way, but I don't know how it would translate again to like a first person situation where Wasteland 3 has the Kodiak, which is your all-terrain vehicle to get around a frozen Colorado. It is parked at the entrance of town, so it's your fast travel out of town, but then on the world map stage is where you drive around to get to different locations.
So it's like
like
the
a
buggy.
Mario level select.
I'm thinking about the little buggy from Final Fantasy VII, like the original FF7.
I was thinking the same
just
thing.
just like that too. Yeah.
Like, cool.
7, 8, and 9 do an amazing job of expanding the world just by improving the vehicle you get.
Yep. And also improving just the world map in general. And then, of course, encounters can happen along the way. And in Wasteland 3's case, you can also armor your vehicle and put like armaments and weapons on it, like a goat mortar that fires goats, and big ass cannons on the front. Like it's great. So when you have random encounters, you have the advantage of having your Kodiak with you, not just your squad, your vehicle that can just run things over if you want to. Like it's cool. Something like that in like a controlled space would be a way that I could see it maybe working better, because those controlled spaces could be set up for vehicles too. But at the same time, like I don't know how well it would fit with the first person kind of situation, because Wasteland 3 is isometric tactical turn-based thing.
What about the Tiny Tina style?
The Tiny Tina style.
Yeah, the Wonderlands, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. How you would be dropped into these
little...
like just these encounters and whatnot.
I guess that is a first person representation of that. Yeah.
Like I could imagine it's like, okay, yeah, you're doing the traveling type thing, and then there is a chance of getting an encounter, and it would always start you in the car and you have to get out, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Could work, but it's not the same thing as just putting a car in it.
Yeah, it feels like we're getting more and more to we're building a game on top of this game.
More into the exceptions than the actual thing.
Don't worry.
Which is
I think,
fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We can do it. More than just Fortnite can be the everything game.
It's such an everything game, though. Oh my god, there's so much in it.
All right, I'm going to push us ahead with the next entry because I feel like we could stick on this for a while.
Shove me, Sarge, please.
Number 3, companions except real.
Whoa.
Fallout 76 was an interesting idea. The execution was somewhat lacking, yes, but the game was always at its best when you had a friend to enjoy it with. Now, nobody wants to see an always online New Vegas 2, devoid of a true single-player experience, but perhaps the standard formula could be enhanced with just one extra friend. Although the post-apocalypse is an unforgiving setting with little hope or kindness, it's never been a lonely place. Different factions and companions have always made surviving in the wasteland that much more bearable, so why not let a friend of our choosing drop in every now and again? Just as long as they don't mind being upstaged by a true best friend, Dogmeat.
Complete missed opportunity. Player 2 is Dogmeat, obviously.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay, I was about to say that the biggest problem with this is the huge, I can't think of the words. It'd be hard to make. Like, throwing co-op into a game is a big thing to do.
That's a big ask.
Throwing co-op where someone plays as a dog, that's even bigger.
I mean, I could see it absolutely working, the whole, like, having co-op, but they would kind of have to... I look at it in the capacity of, well, okay, what do you not want to be doing whenever you have a friend next to you?
Yeah,
Talking to
what
an
control...
NPC for 15 minutes. That's what you don't want to be happening.
What control would you have to take away from player 2 also?
I think about how they implemented multiplayer in Far Cry 4.
Yep.
Like just that. And I like, Caedo, have you played like Far Cry 4?
I've played New Dawn a little co-op, but that's about it.
Okay. Like
it's the same basic thing.
Yeah, like I Far Cry 4 was the first time that they ever did co-op in a game, so I don't know how much of that they did in the other games after that. So
they pretty much kept it the same. Like I can't think about what the variations are, but they've kept kind of a optional co-op thing.
Just pretty much
future Far Cry's.
Yeah, just pretty much the thing where it's like, no, here's your generic companion character, and whenever they're with you, you can do all of the exploring, but you can do none of the quests.
Yep.
And it's like, cool. I suppose that's a really good way to actually play the game and enjoy yourself. That's not necessarily wrong, but it's entirely ignoring the story and the quests and whatnot, and I guess there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah. I do think it brings up a big kind of problem with if you do let a co-op person in and they decide, oh, I'm going to kill, like, the friendly NPC who you wanted to keep alive. Like, that's something a lot of people would be annoyed by.
Yeah, how would you deal with that? How, like, in a game with cause and effect like that? Because...
Well, we have a perfect example. Multiple, in fact. And they're all developed by Larian Studios.
Oh.
Because you could have a co-op team of 4 people and all be interacting with different NPCs at once. And also, one person can be murder hobo, or maybe multiple, at once. And it's absurd. How much they like considered with that.
I guess it's more along the lines of just like, okay, well, they killed someone. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, just go with it. Just go with it. Don't try to prevent it. Don't say you can't do that. Don't try to put guardrails on. Just be like, no, cause and effect. That's how it is. So
yeah. But like, that is another lightning in a bottle situation, of like everything working out and coming together to make this masterpiece that is somehow co-op also, as opposed to what we would expect in a like how to be able to do a like first-person RPG with co-op with some sort of freedom given to the second player. I don't know how that would work at all. to be honest.
Such a crazy amount of work.
Yeah.
What's going through my brain right now is I once was told, like, I made a video talking about like Fallout's music, and was like, oh no, they shouldn't put more work into the music because there's a radio, so there should be no more work put in. You're asking for too much.
Whoa.
Was the essential gist of it. And then I see stuff like this, where it's just like, yeah, let's make it co-op and have vehicles and make you a super mutant. Like, people will ask for so much complicated stuff.
And also, it does show like how people's ideal Fallout world sounds great on paper.
Yeah.
But it always sounds great on paper.
In this case, on the Gamer article.
Yep.
But not always the best thing. And also, they didn't get into like how much 76 is improved, and also how they solved that co-op aspect similarly to how I guess Far Cry is doing it, where like if it's your quest and you're going into a building to talk to someone, like that's instanced to you.
Yeah.
Or you can jump into your co-op or your companion's instance
Yeah.
for them talking to their NPCs, and that's how they worked around that. So I don't know. It was shown in 76, I guess, how we could get close to that, I suppose.
Yeah. It's
But there is some disconnect. On top of it being an online game, there is some disconnect to like having that immersion together, as opposed to something being built from the ground up for it.
Yep.
And even whether or not that would work is up in the air, I think.
I'd personally put it very low on my priority list
Oh yeah,
for a future Fallout game.
I would rather be immersed than explore on my own.
Yeah.
Same.
For sure.
Especially
Same.
seeing as we now do have the multiplayer Fallout game. If you are inclined for
we
that,
do.
there's an option.
And Sarge and I are hopefully gonna play it soon together, Sarge.
Sure.
Right now, right after recording.
I was playing it literally before recording, so
Nice.
yeah.
Oh boy. All I can,
Jump back in,
all,
kill
all,
some
all,
cultists.
all I'm ready to do is just go to bed, man.
We'll slam through the rest of these. How about that?
Okay.
Yep.
Who was
It's you,
last?
Caedo.
Caedo,
I'm number 2.
Yep.
definitely.
Number 2. Third-person mode improvements. It's not unfair to say that third-person mode in every single Bethesda game could be improved. In fact, to be fair, it's not exactly easy to create an engine that can excel in both first and third-person combat, but it is especially wonky in the Fallout games. The Elder Scrolls can get away with this a bit more, considering all you're doing is swinging melee weapons around. Wrong. New Vegas and more recently Fallout 4 are not exempt from this criticism. The third-person camera is basically just there to let you check how awesome you look every now and again. We're not expecting the Last of Us levels of polish, just something passable so we can look cool and shoot at the same time. Sarge, I feel like you have a lot to say about this.
I feel like I need more details. It would have been nice if they'd explained what they believe makes a third-person camera good.
I mean,
Besides just saying The Last of Us.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Naughty Dog does a really good job with the third-person camera and everything. But
Oh, yeah.
I mean, weren't there fundamentally wasn't there some sort of a fundamental flaw in using the third person versus the first person camera in Fallout 4?
I know there's a few weird things, like I believe walk speed and jump height are fractionally different between like first and third person.
Yeah, it's stuff like that.
And
Yeah, there is
finishers,
some oddities
melee
with it.
finishers can't be used in first person.
Man. And I'm certain
Which
that
is
there's something involving that in Starfield as well. Not that that would have applied to this article, 2022, but a lot of this feels like you do know that Fallout 4 came out and you're ignoring the fact that they kind of have a good third-person camera in that, right?
Yeah. That it functions.
Did you just forget about Fallout? Like, no, you didn't forget about Fallout 4. You mentioned it.
They mentioned it, yeah.
And this article was 7 years after Fallout 4 came out, so it wasn't that.
New Vegas and more recently Fallout 4 are not exempt from this criticism. The third-person camera is basically just there to let you... I don't know, man. I feel like that third-person camera in Fallout 4 worked pretty well.
It's not bad.
I think that's the camera you were looking for, and if it's not that, then you're just looking for The Last of Us.
I'm guessing what they're asking for then is, hey, here's the best example we can possibly come up with for a third-person camera. Why isn't Fallout exactly as good as this much more, like, narrative-focused game which can put you in these situations as opposed to a huge open game, which is got to be, by nature, a lot more freeform.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, this entire point sounds harebrained to me.
A little bit.
It sounds a whole lot like it doesn't know what it's saying. It sounds like it was being written, and halfway through it was like, oh, wait, this is a bad point, but I've dedicated to it. I have to write 5 more sentences to make it 10.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm on the same page too. Like, I think he started running out of numbered entries and just was like, third-person camera's kind of jank. Why not?
Okay.
Had like most of a 10-part list, then was like, yeah, I've got to come up with something else.
That's good enough. That's good enough.
Yep.
All right. So if that's the case for number 2, number 1. Oh no. The return of the Enclave. The Enclave has been heavily excluded from from Fallout as of late, with only passing mentions of them made in Fallout 4 and featuring in a single quest line in Fallout New Vegas, a far cry from their prominent roles in both Fallout 2 and Fallout 3. Exactly how they'd make their return is up to the Obsidian, especially considering most of the faction was wiped out in both the East and West Coast. Having them as a full-blown faction you can join this time around could be a fun replacement for the likes of the Institute or the Legion. Oh, God.
They literally gave us the reason.
Yes. I mean, you want to go full crackpot, like, tinfoil hat type of... Dude!
You know, we canonically blow up the Enclave twice, right? You know, they're supposed to be dead twice, right?
And the only
so
excuse you're gonna get is that there's still a quote unquote faction of them,
a joinable faction,
out in like Chicago or like I don't know where the hell else they could put Miami. No, that would be underwater.
Also 76 does have the Enclave.
Yeah,
well.
I was going to point out 76 includes the Enclave, that's the most recent one. And that does make some sense because it's earlier in the timeline.
Yep.
If you're going earlier in the timeline, you can include the Enclave.
Yes.
If you're going later, it bugs me how a lot of the Fallout fan base want old factions to come back and aren't at all interested in making new factions.
Yeah.
Like, there's just a big love for like Enclave and Legion and like, oh, we enjoyed this faction one time, put them in every game now, please.
And I mean, the Enclave was used as a narrative component in the earlier games, you know? Like that was their entire purpose, because the Fallout games are supposed to be an examination of humanity and what they do, what it does, you know, under certain circumstances. And the Enclave was the antithesis of the Brotherhood of Steel.
Kind of the when technology goes too far, the huge like war never changes theme thing. Hey,
yeah,
you know,
I hate this last point. Okay, there were some interesting things in there, and then we just got to the top of. Or is this the end of the list? Is it the end, or is it the top of the list? I don't know how to refer to this thing.
It's number 1.
Oh, it's not number 1. It's
It's number in the garbage.
Okay, I'm closing that article to never let it grace my eyes again.
Hey, Will, we got the Gamer article where you got mad at the end, and that's exactly what we wanted.
All right, well,
because the previous one we had you go over was one of the tamer, like, actually okay ones.
Yeah, one of the rare, hey, this person seems to be making sense sort of ones.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That was good.
Yeah. This is what they're normally like.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
no
like
example
you
of that
guys
now.
pumped me up for that for what, like before us doing it. Like it turned out it was like, what are you guys on about? This seems completely reasonable. This time around, I've got the full face.
Yep.
Ugh.
There you go.
All right.
I'm glad we got to do that. We got to experience that New Vegas 2
So
pipe dream together.
it is 7:00 in the morning for me, and we're gonna start wrapping up the podcast now.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm
Yes,
just
we should.
contemplating to myself, I am so tired, but there's a donut place open right across the street, and those
Aw,
donuts
man.
are probably still hot. Like
Oh,
because they've
Man.
just come out of the oven.
okay.
Do I actually do, because it's not warm outside either, and I'm just like, man, I'm not certain. I'm having a crisis of conscience over here in regards to donuts specifically. That's what I have to say before we get to the end of it.
So besides of thinking of donuts, what else have you done, Will? We'll do like one each, just so we can finish up.
What else have we done? I have been doing Enshrouded, specifically Enshrouded. If you,
What is that?
Well, Enshrouded is it is a new crafting survival game, and that's not entirely giving the game enough credit. A lot of crafting survival games, they rely on having a random world seed in order for you to, like collect resources and, go out and find stuff and everything. Enshrouded does not do that. It has a handcrafted world for you to explore. And it kind of has
nice.
this, the typical like, oh, climb that tower over there to see the surrounding area type of thing going. So the general idea is it is a post-apocalyptic setting where something really, really bad happened. And in this post-apocalypse, nature takes back over and everything, and there are ruins everywhere. You wake up inside of a vault, kind of apt, and your goal is to rescue a handful of NPCs who help you craft and build your base and everything. And you're constantly being pushed further out into the world, and there's something to be said for how skillful the developers have managed to create an open world game where you have to improve your base to get stronger to venture out into the dangerous areas of the world. Mm-hmm. And they've managed to control how much exploration you can do as a result of that. And it's just really, really satisfying to explore the world because, again, it's all handcrafted. So you get to the top of a tower and you look out and you're like, I want to go there. And then you go on the road there and you find 5 places along the road, and the story about what happened and the way that everything fell apart, it's left behind in like bulletin boards and like diaries that are left around. And it's just very, very satisfying. And if you're not particularly interested in the classic, like, oh, I got to go and make a base type thing, it's possible to get away with not really doing a whole lot of base building. Like, there are benefits for doing it and everything. But, and to top it all off, Enshrouded has a web of an RPG system. Like, it's a system where there's this central node in the middle, and then the skill tree goes out in this wide web, and there are like 12 different skill sets that you can specialize in.
Yeah, I was getting some to a lesser degree, but Path of Exile vibes.
Yeah,
or like Sphere Grid kind of vibes.
The Sphere Grid is what I would reference, mostly because I've never played Path of Exile. And to top it all off, the game is just beautiful. It looks really, really good. And referencing back to the person who did the Daggerfall Unity thing and everything, Enshrouded also is built on a custom engine.
Nice.
Which is really unusual, incredibly unheard of this day and age almost. But
yeah.
It's really, really good. I highly suggest anybody who is interested in a game similar to, the more recent Zelda games, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom type stuff, or if you're interested in crafting survival games, just give this game a look. Give it a look. Go out, find some videos about it. Hey, you could watch me stream it. It's worth it. It's worth it. Like, I played it whenever there was a demo on Steam for like some sort of a like in development celebration or whatever. I played it then. I got like maybe 10 hours into the game, and I was like, nope, this is decided. I have to buy this game day one, and I have not regretted it. So
Nice. That's good to hear.
On a lesser side note, I'm also playing Hades, which hopefully is a game that speaks for itself at this point.
Oh yes. Oh
I
yes, it does.
I've been playing that on my stream, and I finally beat the final boss, only to find out, oh, the story isn't done. So
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
yeah. So yeah, hands down, Enshrouded, fantastic, and also enjoying Hades. So
A Sarge.
I've been continuing my Games in 2024 series, with Redfall, Fallout 76, and Dragon's Dogma all having videos out now. Please watch my Dragon's Dogma one. I'm very happy with it, but it's really not getting views.
Yeah.
Like,
You should see the Prawn Hub jokes.
Yeah, I made a lot of jokes in this one. Like, so many jokes. And, yeah, hopefully it'll get some more views, because I'm very proud of it. And, honestly, one of the videos I'm least proud of in the series is my Fallout 76 one, which has got the most views. Just always the nature of it.
You got to piggyback off of the community hate. That's the way that the world works. That's the way the internet turns.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that's what I've been doing. There's also going to be a Cyberpunk 2077 one coming out soon, because I recorded that yesterday.
I saw you playing that.
So, yeah.
Yep.
There's a few more to come, and then I've got to work out what other content I'm making. What have you been up to, Caedo?
Oh, well, I made a video too. It is.
I don't believe you.
Well, you'll
Lies.
see it published on my channel. It's the Grunt Magazine's guide for Starfield. I finally finished that one. That is like second to last of the like sets of 10 collections of magazines. The last one being like the Varun Scriptures, which I actually don't have all the spots recorded yet. So that's on my docket to do next. And also, you'll see B-roll of it probably, because I might go back to it at some point before I finish editing this PIPCAST, is Morrowind. I have been giving Morrowind a solid go, and I think we talked about before we started recording is I've broken the threshold of like challenge in Morrowind, where my character is just powerful. Or maybe I was talking to somebody else. I was talking to somebody else. My power threshold is high enough to where I don't worry about whatever I fight at this point. So I can pretty easily get through the main story now. I just haven't done that before yet. So I'm finding and exploring new things that I'm not used to in the Elder Scrolls. And it's still neat, even though Morrowind, by today's standards, is a bit rough to play.
I mean,
you're
not wrong, man. Still, Morrowind is by far some of the most immersive gameplay that I've ever experienced in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Simply because it was like, yeah, figure out how to get there, bro. Here's some vague directions.
Yeah, and some like mind-blowing stuff that would not fly today as side quest material. Definitely, like the Khajiit drug mule.
Oh my god! Oh, that was a thing.
Yep.
Oh my! I hadn't thought of that.
She ate a bag of moon sugar, and was being trafficked, and your quest was to traffic her to her destination or free her.
Oh my!
This is not something they just throw in games nowadays.
Well, you know, maybe if you went to Rockstar, you could still get that. But,
maybe Rockstar.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. That was one that made me do a double take. I'm like, whoa, okay. And I have a choice, which makes it even worse. Like, I thought it would be just like, oh yeah, you got to free them. No, you can follow through with what the previous owner asked you to do. It's ridiculous.
Morrowind.
But yeah, outside of that, the dark elf house with the dungeon that you play, where you get cured from the disease.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's the Corpus Aureum.
Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah. when you talk to the guy there, he's like, you could do the dialogue, plunder your dungeon. I'm like, okay, where's this gonna go? But no, it's actually his whole house is essentially a dungeon with a collection of locked containers, and the dude has hoarded like 3 or 4 Daedric artifacts and the hammer. What's the name of the hammer? Frick, the 2-hander.
I know what you're talking about,
It's gonna drive me insane.
Was it Stendhal's hammer?
No, it's the one that starts with the V.
Volendrung.
Yeah, Volendrung.
Yes.
Before it got claimed. It's just the dwarven variant. Is one of the treasures there. But I got the crescent sword, and I'm just like, this just paralyzes people when I strike, and magical weapons recharge when I rest. This is stupid. I've won the game.
I mean,
and he also had Scourge too, up there.
Morrowind is also like the last Elder Scrolls game before they like capped the math behind the scenes.
I mean, what do you mean by capped?
You can massively overpower yourself permanently. Like, if you go and use a drain skill spell on yourself, so it's like, my blade is 100. I'll use this drain skill on my sword ability until it's at like 50, and then I'll just hack away until it's up to 100 again, and then recover. Yep. You can now have 150 sword skill, and the math still works that you're doing more damage. As where they were like, no, they're like, we're gonna cap those numbers at some point in the later entries. So like,
yeah, Oblivion still lets you overcap for a while with the attributes, but only like 2 skills, which is like athletics and acrobatics, actually have a noticeable change, whereas the skill ones just don't do anything.
Yeah. So, but it's just like, you can do some obscene things in Morrowind, because like they just, you know, what does it mean to be at 100? Let's go to 200, 500%. You know.
I mean, I can't point at what does it, but like my character's already at like 102 strength, and I don't know what gave me the extra 2, so it's already happened without me realizing it.
Just wait until you get into the tribunal.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it's gonna be silly.
I'm not gonna give it away, but there's a guy who asks for money in tribunal.
Okay.
And you'll understand. You'll understand when it happens.
All right.
So, all right.
Yeah, but that's what I've been doing, and I think that's the episode, isn't it? I think we're done.
2.5 hours. I mean, not too bad. I mean,
oh my God.
You might have, you know, like one or 2 minutes to edit out there where like, you know, Sarge got up to get a drink or whatever. But
oh yeah, I can find that pretty easily. But yeah, thank you for joining us again, Will.
Yeah,
it's
no
been a
problem.
pleasure.
It has. It's always nice to come along for the ride.
Yeah, and where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/WilliamStrife. And if you're interested in my videos, especially the last video that I put out that I'm really, really proud of, the No Super Mario RPG is a pipe dream that never should have happened. That is available over on my YouTube, which is youtube.com/WillStrife. So
Nice.
that's
okay.
right. I'm old enough that I don't have an @ symbol in my name. That's how old man I am of YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. And thank you, Sarge, for always being here. You're freaking awesome. And that's the show. Hang out with us every other Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific on the next PIPCAST 3000. Thank you to my patrons. Thank you for my Wasteland Legends, Sven and Rose. And we will see you in a couple of weeks on the next PIPCAST 3000. Right. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.